Hello everyone, welcome to my channel C. Amit Parekh. So today we will be seeing GSTR 3B, how to prepare and file GSTR 3B. The practical example we will see how each tab in the 3B return has to be filled. So let us start with the same. First we need to go to the GSTR website. We need to log in. So now we are on the GST website. This is the dashboard of the GST site. Now we need to go to the return dashboard. We'll see how to file April 2021 return. So here financial year 21-22, here April 20. Here we can see the due date of April 21 TB return is 19 June 2021. We'll go on prepare online. We're asking, do you want to file nil return? So there are 5 tabs to the 3B return. First one is tax on outward and reverse charge inward supplies. What do you mean by outward supplies? Outward supplies are the normal supplies made by the dealer. So it includes supply of goods as well as supply of services on which GST is charged. So in this we have to enter taxable amount as well as the tax amount, either in integrated tax if it is interstate supply, or within the state supply it is central or state tax. Apart from that, there is also option to enter reverse charge inward supplies. Reverse charge inward supplies means what? See, GST is normally paid by the dealer after collecting it from the receiver or the purchaser. But there are some services which have been notified by the government on which tax has to be directly paid by the receiver to the government. So it is inward supply for the receiver and still he has to pay tax. So it is called reverse charge inward supplies. So for that also taxable amount and tax we need to enter table 3.1. So here first is outward taxable supplies other than zero rated, nil rated and exempted. Zero rated supplies means what? Zero rated supplies are the export of goods and services on which there is no GST chargeable. So zero rated supply is an incentive given by the government that for exports there will be no GST to be collected, neither deposited to the government. And nil rated supplies are those supplies which are mentioned in the GST rate notification at nil rate. Exempted supplies are supplies chargeable to GST, but temporarily they are not exigible to GST because of a exemption notification in force. So other than all these supplies, the remaining outward taxable supplies we need to enter over here. So taxable amount, integrated tax or CGST, SGST if it is within the state sale. B point is outward taxable supplies, that is zero rated. So here we have to enter the export of services and export of goods. With respect to export of services and goods, there are 2 options available with dealer. Either he has to first pay the IGST tax and then subsequently claim a refund, or he can file a LUT with the government and then not pay the tax in the first place at all. So if he is paying IGST, we have to enter both taxable value over here and the IGST to be paid over here. And if he is taking the second option, that is not paying tax at all, then we have to just enter the taxable amount over here. Third one is other outward supplies, that is nil rated and exempted supplies. Both, as we saw earlier, so such supplies we need to enter over here. The fourth one is inward supplies liable to reverse charge. As we discussed earlier, those supplies are the supplies on which the receiver has to pay tax. While the receiver is paying tax, he has to first enter details over here. Taxable amount, IGST, CGST, SGST. IGST if he is receiving the goods from outside the state, and CGST, SGST if he is receiving the goods from within the state. Now last is the non-GST outward supplies. Non-GST outward supplies are different from nil-rated or exempted supplies. These goods or services are not at all mentioned in the GST rate notification. Not at nil rate they are mentioned. So such supply of goods and services taxable amount we have to enter over here. Also reimbursements done and taken by the client, that also no GST is payable. So that also need to be entered in non-GST outward supplies. So this is it with regard to table 3.1. Now interstate supplies table 3.2. Interstate supplies are also to be entered in table 3.1, the integrated tax column. But if there are interstate supplies which are made to the non-registered dealers or directly to the consumers, then such interstate supplies are also to be entered in table 3.2. So here the same has to be entered state-wise. So for a particular state, how much B2C sales has been made has to be entered taxable value in the amount of integrated tax over here. So as we can see, all the states are there. So state-wise we can select and make the amounts. Second is supplies made to composition taxable persons. These supplies are to those persons who have opted for composition scheme. As a composition scheme, they cannot collect GST from the customer. They have to just pay at a flat rate to the government. Now the third type is eligible ITC. ITC means input tax credit. Eligible ITC means ITC which is allowed to be set off from the out tax liability. So input tax credit becomes eligible ITC when it is incurred in relation to the business and it is used in the production or provision of services which are liable to GST. So here there are four options. First, ITC paid on import of goods. Whenever we import goods, the importer doesn't charge us GST. However, while clearing the goods, we need to pay GST to the government of India. So when we pay that GST, IGST, we have to take credit for the same, so we can enter the amount over here. Same way for import of services, we need to enter the amount over here. Third one is inward supplies liable to reverse charge. As we saw in table 3.1, the receiver has to pay tax on my inward supplies received in respect of some goods and services. So paying tax, it is to be entered in table 3.1. The same month he can avail the input of that tax paid. So for claiming the input, we need to enter over here IGST or CGST, SGST. Fourth one is inward supplies from ISD, that is input service distributor. The last point is all other ITC. If the ITC is not falling in any of the above special points, then we have to enter the same in all other ITC column. So the purchase of normal goods and services, we need to enter the figures over here. Part B is ITC reverse. First one is as per rule 42 and 43 of the CGST and SGST rules. So reversal of ITC has to be done when a business is providing both taxable goods and services as well as non-taxable goods and services. There is a mechanism given by the department that if the person is providing both type of goods and services, then he can claim the ITC only in respect of goods of which are liable to GST or services which are liable to GST. For the non-taxable goods and services, he has to reverse the proportionate ITC. So calculation of that reversal of ITC formula is given under rule 42 and 43. So for those type of reversal, we have to enter in first column, and others is all other types of erroneous taken ITC which is now to be reversed. For example, we have taken double ITC particular purchase in the last month, then we can reverse the same in this month by putting in others column. Fourth point is D. Ineligible ITC input services given in section 17(5) which are not allowed, for which ITC is not allowed to be taken. Those come under blocked ITC. All those inputs we have to enter in this D1 point. Fifth is exempt bill and non-GST inward supplies. So in this point, we have to enter the inward supplies which are nil rated, non-GST or exempt supplies. We saw in table 3.1 we had to enter nil rated, non-GST and exempt outward supplies. And in this we have to enter the purchases or expenses which are not liable to GST or which are exempt or nil rated. Also in the eligible ITC column we saw that we have to enter the purchases which are liable to GST and expenses which are liable to GST. And here it is expenses and purchases which are not liable to GST. So if we see and take a total view, then the entire P&L of a person is captured by GSTR 3B. The purchases liable to GST in eligible ITC column, the remaining purchases and expenses is table 5. So even salary paid to persons has to be entered in non-GST supply. Now the last point is interest. Whenever we miss a due date of payment of GST, then we have to calculate interest as per the interest rate given by the government. Currently the interest rate on GST is 18%. So for a proportionate number of days we have to calculate the interest, then enter the figures over here and then pay the same before filing the return. Also late fees. Late fees is chargeable when miss the due date of filing of return. It is automatically calculated by the system. Then once it is calculated we have to pay it and then file the return. So now we saw all the 5 steps, the entire process of preparation of GSTR 3B. Once we have filled all these steps, we have to do save GSTR 3B. After saving, we have to do proceed to payment. Once we do proceed to payment, if the eligible ITC is less than the output tax liability, the balance tax we have to pay and then file the return. And if the eligible ITC is more, then we can file the return directly by setting up the eligible ITC against the output tax liability. So friends, hope now you have a fair idea about filing of GSTR 3B, and if you have any suggestions or doubts, you can put it in the comment section. Also, you can put it in the comment section if you want to see any more such videos. I'll come up with such videos as well. Thank you for watching my video. Kindly like and share.